Coming to you live from beautiful Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. This is the Mets Corner. Um, I actually just recorded a 30-minute, 25-minute show that was on my own personal YouTube. So this is take two. Some technical difficulties. I guess it wouldn't be a show without some technical difficulties. But in any event, I guess I'll hop right back into what I was saying 20 minutes ago about how I wanted to do this because I love the Mets and I love that, this gives me an opportunity to talk about them on a basis similar to that of sports radio. And I always, I created this whole page, the Mets Corner, because I really wanted to be able to talk about the Mets every day. I think there are so many good podcasts out there that, talk about the Mets. What the problem is, in my opinion, is that they talk about games that happened 3 days ago, 2 days ago, even. I'm like, the Mets just beat the Nationals 4-2, and like, I don't care at all about the win they had on Sunday. Not that I don't care about it. Of course I care about it, but I don't care that, people are talking about it. It's old news to me. It's yesterday's paper. It's like, give me the game that just happened. I want to hear about Carlos Carrasco shoving. I want to hear about Jeff McNeil getting a big base hit. I want to hear about Starling Marte striking out 3 times. I want to hear about what happened yesterday, tonight, immediately after, or at least the morning after. And I think baseball's a sport that, it's not like football where, the Jets lose on Sunday. You can talk about it until pretty much Saturday afternoon, and it's relevant. Baseball is something that really it thrives off of constant communication. It thrives off of doing what sports radio does, which is interacting with people, which is something I really want to do, which is why I've got Spotify Live. I've got a phone number if people want to call. I've got, ways to contact me and ways to get on the show and ways to talk and ways to just discuss the Mets. And I guess it's a long-winded way of trying to say what I really want to accomplish here, which is just to talk about the Mets in a relevant manner. I coming out with a show about the Mets 7-run ninth inning the other day. Great game. I'm going to remember it for the rest of my life where I was, my girlfriend and I watching the game, couldn't believe it. And it was something that, it's classic. Yeah, it's cool. And you're going to remember it. And you're not going to remember tonight's game at all. But that's the beauty of baseball, is that it's new. It's like it needs to have that constant communication, that constant discussion. And that's what I want to do here. So wouldn't be here without my girlfriend, Maggie Rose. She's the producer extraordinaire, getting me all set up. And I guess without further ado, let's jump into the game that was. So the Metsies go down to DC after a day off yesterday, and after taking 2 out of 3 of a real 4-game series against the Phillies. They can't lose the series, so that's always good. They've lost 0 series, and they've managed to win the rest of them. So tonight is another step in that direction. Keep winning games. That's all the Mets have to do, is keep winning the first game of the series. Obviously, keep winning games. It's simple enough. Keep winning the first game of the series, which they've done in all but 2 series they've played. Continue to play stellar defense like they have. Run the bases well, which outside of that very weird game in St. Louis where Luis Guillorme was running around like his head was on fire. Outside of that, do all the little things right. Get the first game of the series. They've been so good at getting that first game. And then, then you just got to split, which they've been doing. They've been splitting. They're 21-10. They literally win 2 to every one. It's a perfect recipe for success. It's a perfect recipe for this team to win. And if this team continues to do what we want it to do, and it continues to be anything close to a playoff team, it's going to have to continue to do this. They did a great job of it tonight, getting out Carrasco. He honestly, I thought he could have pitched a little deeper into the game. I thought Buck had a pretty quick leash there, but I trust Buck. Drew Smith is a guy you never get upset seeing come in. I mean, he's pretty much like 2019 Lugo right now. I trust him with my life. He comes in. gets the job done for the most part. Julio Rodriguez comes in and gets Juan Soto to pop up. And then Edwin Diaz comes in and is just his filthy self doing Edwin Diaz things. Edwin Diaz. Win. Something that Met fans are getting a little used to now. And, at 21-10, Braves are going to lose. They're down 9-4. They better lose, at least, I should say. No, I shouldn't say they're going to. But better lose. And, the Mets just continue to build that lead in the NL East. And that's what this is all about. These games in May, they matter. Games in April matter. Games in June matter. The Mets continue to win. Keep adding W's. 12-5 on the road. I mean, there's no way in hell the Mets were 7 games above 500 on the road at any point last season. I don't even think if you took a 7-game, any snippet of the season, they were never 7 games over on the road. This is a team that just plays well no matter where they are. 12-5 on the road, 9-5 at home, I believe. It's what you want to see. And, tonight, obviously the first big piece is Carrasco. He did a great job. 6 2/3, 2 earned runs, 5 Ks. If Carrasco's able to be the number 4 guy, which he'd be a great number 3, he's an unreal number 4. I mean, he is just the more I think of it, the more I think how outrageous it is that he's our 4th starter. You have Bassett, who is an outrageous 3, probably really a good 2, and then Scherzer, who is the best 2 in the game. You don't even have Jacob deGrom. The Mets pitching has been what's winning its games. Timely hitting, of course, has played a huge part in it. Obviously, evident tonight. Jeff McNeil getting a huge base knock coming through for the Mets, and I have a lot of faith in this team continuing to win the first game of a series. That's the theme tonight, is win the first game of a series. And especially against a shit Nationals team. 3-12 at home, which is somewhat impossible to believe. I mean, if you're a season ticket holder and you've gone to, 5 Nationals games already, which if you have, God bless you, there's a very good chance you haven't seen a win. And that is just, it's tough to swallow. The Nats they're in for a long season, a team the Mets got to beat up on. I said it in the first recording of this podcast that didn't get saved or didn't get posted to my YouTube, that the Mets have, 19 games, I think, against the Nationals. You got to find a way to win 13. I mean, you got to find a way to, at a minimum, win 12. My God, a minimum 12. And that's 12-7, Ideally, you won 13-6. That's pretty ideal. I mean, they're 4-1 right now, so that would be 9-5 the rest of the way. I'd expect them to be able to do that, considering they haven't played them at home yet. Just continue to tack on wins. McNeil, get the big base hit. Obviously, he always comes through. McNeil has an 865 OPS. Pete has an 851 OPS. The guys are just, they're humming. They're playing really well. And even they're picking up guys like Canna, who had a pretty off night. Marte, who, I could have had more competitive at-bats than Starling Marte tonight, which I'm not going to, crush him. Guys have bad nights. But it shows you what this team can do and that they pick each other up. And Francisco Lindor, had 2 hits tonight. He's showing like his slump was always a little overrated because he's a guy who was hitting the ball hard and wasn't striking out a ton. And, like in that Philly game on Sunday, the first game of the doubleheader, Dom Smith had like some of the worst at-bats you're ever going to see. I mean, he's swinging at pitches that aren't even close. He's not swinging at pitches down the middle. He's doing everything wrong. His timing's off. Lindor never did that. Lindor was hot, and then Lindor hit into a little bit of bad luck. I don't know what his BABIP was, but I know that for the most part, Lindor's been hitting the ball pretty well. And tonight, that came through, 2 for 5. He did have 2 Ks, but he's a guy that's continuing to play well. He's got 740 OPS, which is something you like to see a little higher. His slugging's pretty low. But it's going to come up. I have a lot of faith in Lindor. And I have a lot of faith in this team. I have a lot of faith in Pete. I mean, Pete is by far and away, Pete and McNeil are by far and away their two best players thus far. They've just been, 2019 versions of themselves, which was something that Met fans have been waiting years for their, since probably legitimately Jose Reyes and David Wright, for this team to bring up somebody offensively that was this special. And, Pete and Jeff have done that. Pete and Jeff have continued to be the players that we hope they be. So Mets go to 4-2. You really want to sweep this series. I mean, my God, would that be nice? This is a Nationals team that just has nothing. They got, Josh Bell's a good player. He's playing out of his mind. Soto is down right now, and when he's down, you got to take advantage. The bottom of this lineup is just, it's a lot of, I don't want to say has-beens for major league players, but my God, you gotta find a way to beat these guys. You gotta find a way to beat them pretty much all three. It's hard to say that you want a team to sweep another team, no matter how good you are, no matter how bad they are. The 100-win teams, you don't expect them to go and sweep teams. It's hard to sweep a team, but when you win the first one, like the Mets always seem to do, you put yourself in such a good position to sweep. And I'm trying to remember if the Mets even have a sweep this year. I don't even know if they do. I feel like they don't. I don't think they have a sweep. I think they just win series. I think that they win game one, they win or lose game two, and they win or lose game three. It's been a pretty perfect recipe. You're getting amazing starting pitching. You can count on one hand the bad starts that the Mets starting pitchers have given you. And then you have an emerging star in Drew Smith in the back of the bullpen. And then you have Edwin Diaz, who has just become the 2018 version of himself that was unhittable. A guy who clearly feeds off of crowd excitement and feeds off of being in the closer role. And I think Buck realizes that. I think Buck knows exactly what he's got in his guy and what he's going to try to pull out of him. And, you hope that you can get something out of Lugo, which it seems he's a little bit more back to normal now. You hope you can continue to get outs with Chase and Shreve and Joely Rodriguez against the lefties. The NL East has a lot of big lefties. You got Matt Olson. You got Juan Soto. You got Bryce Harper. You got a lot of big lefties. And you got to be able to get these guys out. And the Mets have the pieces to do it. And I guess some of your back end bullpen guys, they've been fine. I think Ottavito's a little shaky. May's obviously hurt, which stinks because I think when May's right, he's probably one of their better arms. And obviously trading Castro away compromised the back end of that, 6-7 inning bullpen guy. But in any event, Drew Smith has stepped up. He's been a godsend. The Mets defense, another thing. I was just thinking about Drew Smith being in the game and how, he would let it to Joely, who led it to Edwin, who, was able to get the inning-ending double play and the game-ending double play. And that defense up the middle for the Mets, something I stressed again on my first recording of my podcast that didn't save. The defense for the Mets up the middle is really strong. It's probably the strongest it's been since the Beltran years, where you have a guy in Nimmo who's coming into his own. You have McNeil, who's a borderline Gold Glove second baseman. And then you have Lindor, who is an actual Gold Glove shortstop. Even though I argue at this point of the season, he's probably been the weakest of the bunch. McCann is really strong up the middle. He can throw guys out. He plays a really solid catcher. Pete is an above-average first baseman. Eduardo Escobar gets the job done. Marte is a Gold Glove, just out of position. And then Canna is, I would certainly say, serviceable. I haven't seen any bad plays from him in left field. So the Mets defense and the Mets pitching are allowing their offense, which has sputtered of late, and you don't want to call out, a ton of negatives when you win 4-2 and have won 3 out of 4. But, the Mets offense has sputtered a little bit. And tonight, they were able to get a big hit thanks to Jeff McNeil. They left a ton of guys on base, though. It was 12 guys left on base versus the Nationals 3, and the Nationals had a chance to win the game, the last batter of the game. Like that's not been the story of this 2022 Mets team. They've been getting guys in. They had a lot of productive outs tonight, thanks to James McCann and JD Davis, 2 sacrifice flies, something the Mets, I think the 2021 Mets had 9 total sacrifice flies. And it has been just such a nice change of pace to see this team take an approach at the plate that favors not the home run, but the smart out, the constructive out, the out that makes the team score more runs. That's what the Mets have done a great job of. They've done a great job of getting guys over. They've done a great job of getting guys in. That's how you win. And that has shown itself. The Mets don't hit for a lot of power. Outside of Pete and, Lindor's probably going to come close to 30, but other than that, I don't know. I mean, Marte might get to 20. I don't know if anybody else is even getting in the mid-20s. We're a month in right now, and Canna has 1 home run. Escobar has 1 home run. McCann has 1 home run. McNeil has 1 home run. I mean, and they're going to hit more, but they're not a power-hitting team. Dom Smith hasn't hit a home run since, I think, the turn of the century. So I'm a little cautious in thinking that this team's going to, just turn the power on at some point. But you also got to think, they get the hit when they need it. So who gives a shit that they don't get the home run ball? And I couldn't agree more. I don't need the Mets to hit home runs. I just need them to hit timely hits. Timely hitting works just as good. Taking the big walk, it works. Making a pitcher work. That's what this Mets team has done. That's what they did tonight. They got to, you didn't even get to Corbin, but they were getting to Corbin. And David Martinez knew it. He pulled him in the 5th inning at like 81 pitches because everyone in the world knew Corbin was going to get shellacked next inning against Alonso. That was a lock of the year home run spot for Alonso. He didn't get it. Instead, he drives a single up to right center, gets on base, and the Mets are able to knock him in. It's great team baseball. They're playing at such a high level. And yeah, I mean, the Braves just lost, and now the Mets are going to be, I believe, 7 games up in the NL East, which, 7 games is a bad word. We don't say that around here. But when you're able to win games that the Mets are winning, how they're winning, you just put yourself in such a good spot. And, 21-10 versus the Braves 14-7. Mets have a plus 38 run differential. They're doing everything you want them to do. They're playing exactly how you want them to play. And, you take what you can get in May. You take these wins. This Mets team has shown you a lot of resilience and a lot of fight. And to be 7 games up this early, it's too early to win a season. It's too early to win a division, but it's not too early to lose one. You don't want to be a Boston Red Sox team right now. You don't want to be a team, trying to think of teams that I was thinking we're going to compete this year. I mean, maybe some people thought the Tigers were going to compete. They're 9-21, their season's over. And it's nice that the Mets have finally gotten off to a true good start. None of this garbage 11-1 and then, 33-33 crap. No, this is a team that is getting better. Even with the offense sputtering, they're getting better. They're showing you how to win games hard ways. They're not even playing well and they're winning games. That's a sign of a good team. So that's going to be a wrap here for the first episode of the Mets Corner. Really happy to be on this channel, to be on this show and discuss the Mets with everybody. It's going to be a lot more fun as games get more exciting and games, take off and become even more important than they are. But hey, every game matters. Don't let anybody tell you different. The Mets are going out there playing like the games matter. And it's honestly refreshing to see. I don't know how long it'll last. Hopefully a long time. I think a long time. But I'm going to enjoy it while it's happening. The Mets have a great rotation. The Mets have an above-average defense. And the Mets have an offense that knows when and where to hit the ball. It's all you can ask for. It's all you want out of your team is just compete night in and night out, play hard, and find a way to win. So the 21-10 Mets will look to add on to this little 2-game win streak tomorrow as they go up against Aaron Sanchez. You got good old tomorrow, I believe, is McGill, who, I had a lot of faith in. Our guy McGill. People, Baby DeGrom, call him whatever you want. He throws gas. He's like the tallest man in the world. He's a guy that Met fans, probably myself included, wrote off. I thought he was going to be garbage. I didn't like what I saw from him at the end of the season. I thought it was a flash in the pan. Another what the hell was that guy's name? Logan Barrett. I thought he was another Logan Barrett. I had no confidence in him doing what he's doing now. He's really shown us a lot. And I got a lot of faith in McGill tomorrow for the Mets to go out there and take game 2. I don't know what that money line number is, but I'll sprinkle. The Mets are gonna do what they do, find a way to win a series. So with that being said, that is the first episode of the Mets Corner. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be here tomorrow.